Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're talking about I don't know, these are much more. Should I use the word technical or what word should I use?
Technical is cool.
Okay, these are much more technical subjects. I don't know. So firstly, we're talking about which of these you want to talk about? Which of these you want to talk about? Societal happenings, power, or meeting,
Let's start with masculinity.
masculinity slash dominance.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just check the meaning of masculinity from my dictionary. So I'll just give an exact meaning of the word. Masculinity. Masculinity. So you just get your phone for me, big. Thank you. Thank you very much. Masculinity. What masculinity? The degree or property of being masculine or manly. Okay. Like related to our social setting, what would you say about masculinity and all that stuff?
Masculinity. I don't know. Most people they see this masculinity ish as probably being like in charge, kind of like being in charge. But that's where like this toxic masculinity ish comes in, because whereas you're expected to be a man all the time. So men are not allowed to shed tears. Like they fill your head with so many things like that. Men are not supposed to feel emotions. It's boxed with guys and this.
To keep manning up forever.
Yeah.
Well, for masculinity, this angle you mentioned, it's okay, but I don't think society keeps like telling guys to man up, man up, man up. It's not necessarily society; it's more the responsibility a man has. Now, when
I mean society, okay, let's take this case for instance. Now, imagine a guy gets raped. You can't come to
a guy gets raped.
Yeah, guys get raped.
See, I was reading correction this morning in this book, Evolutionary Psychology by David Boss. He edited the book. It's a handbook. Many authors wrote the book. Now, correction is they did a lot of experiments. A lot of research in other animals, non-human animals, and they found out that correction, like the opposite happening. Women raping men, they actually never saw it practically. Like it's actually never ever. It was actually never ever visible in any of the researches or experiments. So like in that aspect of men getting raped, let's leave that aspect. If you say more about younger guys getting abused, like 5-6-year-old boys, I don't know what abuse is in that sense, because I don't know, the older woman or the older lady that's taking care of the guy is just receiving pleasure, and the boy is not actually getting harmed. So that area is much more complex. I don't want to talk about that stuff, because you always hear that this woman was sucking this little guy's dick and all that stuff. And in university, in primary school or secondary school, it even happens. Teachers predate. That's the word social media uses on little guys. Like, and actually, the guy is not getting hurt. The guy is actually getting pleasured. And
you can't see he's not getting hurt because it messes with like his social upbringing.
How you'll be more attracted to older ladies.
Aside being attracted to older ladies, there are some certain things that would I say that are sexually bizarre that they get into to get that pleasure they used to get. Let's say someone now exposed you.
It's a blowjob.
No. See, let's say someone exposes you to something very nasty, like
At a very tender age.
Sucking
your dick. What other stuff would they do to that child?
Is it like, okay, how would I put it? You know, most men that rape girls and leave them half dead, most of them probably experienced these things in their childhood.
Have you watched Mindhunter?
No.
Netflix movie.
Most of them, they experience these nasty things in their childhood and they want to exact it on someone else. Why some of them, they exact it on themselves? You see some people having sex and they probably bring out a knife and tell you to cut them. That's the way they feel pleasure.
You don't think some of these stuff are fantasies? Some of these stuff are derived from books they read along the line. Some of these stuff are derived from movies or porn they actually watch, and they like.
At least that way you had the choice. Like you were able to like get that in your head by yourself. But whereas this was forced on you by someone else.
Like you mean like when someone the child is small, the auntie will be cutting her own hand while sucking a dick to get pleasure. Or
I'm not saying most of these things now. There are different ways. I can't state everything. Do you get? Maybe some of them they get forced into it. Maybe they're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Then she probably like coerces him into it or something.
when you say
And
force, like
then
what do you mean?
okay, look at a little kid now. He doesn't know what sex is. Yes,
Age.
let's just say 7. He doesn't know what sex is. Then his parents now, they probably like groomed him that okay, don't do this, don't do that. Then he has that
Don't do what?
mentality
Don't do what?
like don't let no one touch your private part.
Do parents usually tell boys that thing?
Yeah, they do.
They tell
They
boys.
tell girls, so they tell boys. Yeah. Not all parents do, but some of them do.
99% of Nigerian parents don't tell boys that.
Some
People
of
that they
them
tell
do.
is girls, not boys.
Okay, most of them now they stumble upon their parents telling their sisters that, and most of them they learn these things in school. They learn it themselves. We all did health education. They teach you stuff like that in health
Like
education.
don't let people touch.
Yeah, they
Okay.
teach stuff like that in health education.
On, one sec. I was reading in news one day that one lady in an American primary school was teaching children how to pleasure themselves, when not to pleasure themselves, telling them that adults do this in private, they don't have sex in public, basically. And parents were outraged, like, why is this woman even telling them about masturbation and blowjobs and sex positions and all that stuff? Primary school children, that's what this woman, and me personally, obviously, and for that woman, because like from that age, she's helping them realize that these things are normal and natural. Like every form of stigma will be washed away before they get to 18, 17, 16, where their hormones are ranging. So when it comes to that angle of parents telling their girls and the boys are hearing them and all that stuff, well, they're just telling their girls out of fear. They're talking from a point of fear, not necessarily understanding really what the society is about. They're just telling their girls, be cautious.
No, no. How? Yeah, they're telling them to be cautious, but then it's not necessarily fear. Okay, let's take an example now. Let's say you have a child of 5 years old,
A
and you
girl child
hear
or a boy
a
child,
girl child, and you hear that
the teacher.
not necessarily a teacher. Let's just say a random guy was trying to screw her. How would you feel?
How will I hear it? I hope you know most
No,
rape,
no.
most rape cases
Most
and
of
most assault cases are never ever
most of
reported.
these kids, you could tell if you're the kind of parents that you pay attention to your child,
Child's body
you would tell.
behavior and
You know
reaction
that okay, something this child just went through
to something.
emotional trauma. This
Trauma.
child just went through trauma, and you have to follow up like just every which way, hospital, everything, do everything to make sure you know what happened to this child. If it means taking him to a therapist, which in
So then
Nigeria we don't really make use
okay, you
of.
say if my 5-year-old child experiences rape,
Yeah,
a 5-year-old child is what class in Nigeria?
let's just assume
The
primary one.
chances of such things happening, it's super slim. It happens like 1 in 500.
No, you can't tell.
It's super rare.
You can't tell.
First
You
of
know, most
all,
of these
first
cases
of
they
all,
don't
look
make
at
it
look
to
at
social
look
media.
at look at the socioeconomic status of that family. More of wealthy people, like people that have the money to send their children to top schools, like these cases are like before you hear such cases, it's super rare. Mainly because this school they have to uphold their reputation. With the money they one amount of money they have, they at least try to hire, they
This thing
try to
doesn't always
hire
happen in
they try
school.
to
You
hire the
know.
best. Then where else would it happen? Where else are we going
It
to?
happens on the streets.
Like my 5-year-old child will be going to buy it.
I'm
So
not saying I'm not okay. Let's not talk. We're not talking about your child here. Like we are generalizing
no, no,
this.
I'm
It
not.
doesn't only happen in school. It doesn't only happen in schools. It happens on the streets. You can see a street guy that's like, because you know most of these guys are not educated. They
Okay.
don't know all these things, so they just feel I'm feeling somehow. Let me just take this child and just do this, do that. Most of
Yeah.
them are that
So
crazy.
like when would this child be abducted from to do that stuff? And even when you
Are
abuse
you
the child like that,
serious?
how?
There are children they are hawk things.
Okay, that's down. That now on that angle. That's now a different angle. Like, when it
They are
comes,
still
yes,
kids.
those guys get some of them get assaulted and all
And
that stuff.
then
But
their cases can't make it to the media because they don't have that means.
this is that this issue now is more of poverty. Actually, it's more of poverty because these guys are out there because of lack, so they need to hustle for their daily bread. But, but the thing that I don't know,
It's not
but
only that. You see, there was this story I heard one time. There's this man, he adopts children and he has this place he keeps them and he sexually assaults them. That's like his own thing. That's what pleasures him. So I feel I don't know his own story. I don't know what he went through when he was a child or something, but I'm very sure he was related to something like that.
Something okay. Let's just Google basically. Why do why do elderly sorry, why do elderly guys assault little children? Let's know the real source. Why do elderly guys assault little girls? Let me type it that way. I know I'm not trying to be gender specific, but let me just see. Wait, let me just see the psych, where the psych is coming from. If it's from childhood trauma, something they experienced earlier in their life, and all that stuff. The internet here is terrible. Why do elderly guys assault little children? Please be fast, be fast, be fast. This guy, internet. The internet is so slow. Okay. So, rape pandemic. Why elderly men are preying on underage girls? So, this article, see the case lingered for 5 years. Even load faster, please. Even in Nigerian Punch Nigeria. Wow, the network in this place is bad. Like, let's look at. Okay, rape pandemic. Why elderly men are preying on underage girls? So, for 13 years, this is supposed to be Punch post by J. Sushigun Alabi. For 13 years, Morenike Jimo, not real name, bottled up anger and bitterness in her mind. The emotions hurt her and affected her self-esteem and identity for a long time. But she didn't know where and how to pour out the vexation. No one, not even her mother, believed her when she tried to divulge the secret. She did not even bother to tell her father, a disciplinarian feared by her and her two brothers. With no support whatsoever, she decided to live with bitterness which lasted for over a decade until she got married to a man who supported her, and by whose caring she managed to survive the trouble. Morenike was 15 at the time. She was raped by her maternal uncle, who visited the family in Ibadan, Oyo State, sometime in 2000. Prior to this event, they always spoke on the phone anytime he called from the United States, where he was working at the time. At the time, he was almost 60 then. She was abused at 15. While on the leave at work, he decided to visit home in Nigeria, making the Jimos his first stop after arriving in the country. It was understandable. Morenike's parents had played a huge role in sponsoring his trip out of the country, paying them a visit first and giving them the goodies he brought before visiting other family members was the proper thing to do, he possibly thought. He brought large boxes full of rare chocolates, perfume, and other nice things. He gave me many nice stuff. Morenike recalled while speaking with our correspondent. On a cold night on the third day of his arrival, when Morenike's parents had gone to bed, the then teenager narrated how her uncle barged into her room, gave her some money, and told her to not mention it to her parents. Morenike said, he told me how he knew my mother, his sister, would get jealous if she knew he gave me money. I was shocked, but I promised not to. I thought he was just being an uncle who wanted to pamper his niece. He called me all sorts of nice names. He said I was more beautiful than my mother. He said I should not allow boys to destroy my life. But I was utterly amazed when he kissed my forehead as he left my room that night. He promised to look after me afterwards, saying he would sponsor my education in the US when I graduated from secondary school. I was ecstatic. But on the following night around 11 p.m., he came into my room again and engaged me in another discussion, telling me I was more beautiful than I was the previous day. Then he started rubbing my cheeks and thighs, and then my breasts. I jumped out of bed, but he pulled me back. The next thing I felt was that I couldn't breathe properly. He pulled off my nightgown and forcefully had sex with me. Unfortunately, my brothers had gone to school and my parents slept upstairs. They couldn't have heard my little scream. I felt devastated after the act. He started pleading with me after the act and asked me not to tell my parents. He even said that no one would believe me if I tried to. Morenike said the following morning she felt like hitting her uncle with a club because of the boiling anger in her. Because of her sad mood, her parents asked her what was wrong, but she couldn't utter any word. She said, I couldn't find the courage to tell anyone what happened until a month after, when my uncle returned to the US. I called my mom into the room one day when dad was not around and told her what happened during my uncle's stay. She was shocked, but at the end of it said she didn't believe her brother could do such a thing. I was left more devastated. Morenike said the incident strained her relationship with her mother for some years, as she could not understand why she would not believe her own daughter. I lived with the anger and bitterness towards everybody for 13 years until in 2013 when I married. I hated men for many years. Maybe that was why I married at 28. But when I met my husband, I saw love in him. I confided in him all that happened and he didn't stigmatize me. He even loved me more. I think it was his love that healed me of the trauma, she stated. Morenike wasn't the only person raped by a person old enough to be her father. Another rape victim, Charity Mbanachuku, not real name, also shared with our correspondent how she was raped by an aged neighbor when she was 14. She said her mother died when she was 7 years old, while her father traveled to Lagos to work. She lived with her relatives in Benin City, Edo State. She said there was a man in the neighborhood that my aunt used to send me to sell fufu, processed cassava flour, but that she used to make too. He had grey hair, a baritone voice, and a protruded belly. I used to go there every evening to sell fufu. The man liked touching me anytime I went to his house. And anytime I told my aunt, she would scold me and tell me to just make sure I sell her fufu. Okay, that's another one of the stories. So in this case, this lady was not even underage, basically. Okay, well, according to Nigerian law and most laws globally, 18 years is the age for consent. But in some countries,
She's still a minor.
it's still a minor. Now, this chick was banged by her uncle, and she kept it to herself for how many years? 50. Okay, she told her mom a month later, and the mom didn't believe. And the next person she could tell was her husband, that's 15, or was it 18 years later when she was 28 years old. Okay, this is an example of where an older person abused a teenager. And in this case, this was not minor. This wasn't 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. Okay, now like we're talking about why older guys actually prey on younger girls, and you're talking about childhood trauma. What form of trauma do you think this her uncle,
I didn't say all guys, all
like
rapists go through that trauma. There are some of them. It's some sick fantasy. I call it sick fantasy to me because I don't know why you would want to force yourself on a 15-year-old. If
But how about if the sex was negotiated? Like they actually talked
if
about.
it was negotiated, I'm not against this. I'm not really into this age difference stuff. If a 15-year-old should be, I feel she should be mature enough to make her decisions. Though they are still seen as minors, but some of them, there are some 15-year-olds
Are
that
very smart.
are very smart.
That's
They're
SS2 in
like,
Nigeria, bro.
yeah, I think so.
That's actually
There are some 15-year-olds that I know that, yeah, they've seen things, they've seen life, so I feel they could make their decisions themselves. So if it was that case and it was consent, I would say fine.
okay. So based on this masculinity stuff and like older guys having sexual stuff to do with younger persons, how do you think it can be avoided in society or reduced or ameliorated? I think that's the right word.
I feel okay. Therapy is one thing.
Therapy on whose part?
Therapy for anyone that has gone through rape in the past, that has experienced some things that they were forced into that they didn't fancy.
So what should guys do better to actually prevent this? To actually prevent themselves from getting into such stuff? Because at the end, we see it's either fantasy or childhood trauma. So, what do you think we should do to actually wash away such fantasies from our head, or at least not practice it?
To be honest, there's no solid solution. At least not yet. Because you can't tell people not to go ahead with their fantasies and all.
You can only restrain yourself and practice self-control.
You can only practice self-control. That's just the only thing. But
Okay. As we direct,
as with direct solution, there's nothing else. Just abstinence, self-control. That's all. At least there are people that have fantasies, but then they pick them. You can't live out all your fantasies, obviously. Just like someone fantasizing about banging
banking,
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
You can't tell me that you go ahead with that.
Well, there's a chance.
Nah.
There's a
it
chance.
sounds bro.
There's a chance.
Wow.
If you have,
There's
if you have,
a
the, if you
chance
have, if you have
for
the
you.
money and the resources, there's a chance. I hope you know Bezos can bang Nicki if he does one of his fantasies.
Let me tell you something. Most of these girls, it's not about the money.
It's about
Some of them, you don't find it attractive. There's nothing. You can't tell the kind of person Nikki is because you've not actually sat down with her. You only know what you see on TV. You don't know her in person. You get? If you knew her in person, now you know that okay, she was what was this word? She was ratchet, something like that. You could say
ratchet.
okay. Like there's this thing they call themselves ratchet bitches. Sorry for the word.
I don't know.
No, not the dictionary meaning. Okay, you could. I think you could align with the dictionary.
Ratchet means ratchet. What is this guy tapping? Okay, so ratchet even sound like a tool. So a procedure regulation to cause to become incremented is not what we're looking for. So let me just check ratchets. Let me Google ratchet slang.
Yeah.
But this network may not allow us to see. Ratchet slang meaning.
Most of these rappers they use that word.
Ratchet slang meaning. Okay, exciting. Ratchet is a slang term that can mean exciting or excellent, often used as a term of empowerment among women. Some may also use ratchet for when they are feeling bad in some way. The term has been previously used, however, as an insult, characterizing a woman as being over dramatic or promiscuous. I know promiscuous has to do with someone that overshows sexuality. Promiscuous made up of various disparate okay. It's indiscriminating choice of sexual partners or having partners. So like why this like okay. Now
That's what I'm saying.
okay.
Now, you can't tell if she's ratchet or not.
I understand broadly that actually when you're trying to get a lady or a particular chick, if the chick is not attracted to you, like your chances are very, very, very slim, no matter how much money you spend and time and affection or sacrifice or whatever service you. But now like this is a case of power. Like let's say this guy.
It's a case of power.
Let's say this guy.
Bezos.
Wait, let's say this guy actually asks this chick, what do you want? What is something materialistic that you want that you're not able to provide yourself? And she names the gender. Okay, let's bang and I give it to you, the signed document. What do you think Nicki Minaj will refuse?
It's possible she would.
She would refuse.
It's possible
For
because
what she cannot afford in the next 10 years. She doesn't see herself. See,
that's
look at
the thing.
you don't see
You don't know how this. You've not met them in person. You don't know how they think. It's just like someone like Rihanna. She left the prince. Who is she dating now? A$AP Rocky. She left a prince to date A$AP Rocky.
Well, it's not.
You can't always tell. You can't tell how these girls think sometimes.
No, the thing about sex is this that like most people, like in this our current world, will give up their dignity or whatever for materialistic gain.
True, dude.
Like, if it's something that I know will benefit me and my family or my children, and I can't even afford it myself, I don't even see myself for the next 10 years, and someone just wants to have a 30 minutes or 1 hour business with me, sexual business, and we sign a contract. How many people do you think would actually refuse? Even the rich people, how many people do you think will refuse?
Depends
such?
on there's this thing. If you watch Money Heist, yeah. You remember this thing Berlin said one time. He said
Berlin is my best character.
betrayal. Something about betrayal.
Is it when he saw his son
depends
cheating
on
on
the
them?
magnitude of what is placed before you. So now, them betraying their, what's it called?
Their inner, how will I even, their inner resilience, or how will I even put itself? Their dignity, between themselves.
Between their dignity now, it has to the magnitude of what
The price
before them
the price
has to be very high,
overwhelming.
So you have to be overwhelming. But whereas it's not even up to, you don't expect them to just go for it like that.
Don't forget the question was, if Bezos tells this chick, what do you want materially that you can afford the next thing?
Sometimes stuff like that, they don't just come out. There's this thing now, I can ask you something, what do you want? You're not able to pick you on the spot. But then even if you state that thing on the spot, it might not be enough to convince you to do what I want you to do. But whereas I'm able to figure out by myself, something I know that I could put before you now, and I tell you my feet, you lick my feet. That works better than telling you to pick anything.
About how in society, how a guy can actually prevent himself from, having a business to do with underage people. Well, we didn't read this topic under masculinity or sexual fantasies.
It could be under both.
Okay. So that's for. We also have some other topics we want to talk about. Power, mating, as masculinity, dominance, attraction, feminism. Do you like talk about feminism?
Nah.
Why don't Why don't you want to go to that?
I don't want problem with the Twitter family.
No, there's no problem with any Twitter family. It's about you two people that you contend with.
I don't think. Nah, I don't know much about that.
So you don't want to go into what you don't know much about. Okay. So we like to talk about mating, dominance, attraction. What do you think? It ain't a baby, but what do you think girls actually notice when they see a guy and they're like, okay, I know this guy actually comes towards to check in biology? I think it's called woo. W-O-O. You can wait, what do you think a girl sees in a guy and his chances of being accepted? It's high.
Sorry to say, but girls they're very funny.
How? In what way?
You can't be exact.
Can't predict.
Okay, it's not just girls, it's everybody. Even guys too. You can't just predict what this person would see and like. Some girls, it varies. Some of them, they claim it's height and crap, but then for real.
No, actually,
it's height.
That's biological. When someone is taller than you and bigger than you feel much more protected.
But then there are some girls that like short guys. That's the thing.
The percentage is
low. It's low. But I'm just saying there is. But then a girl will tell you it's the height for me, it's the eyes. But then you see her dating someone that's way far, way off what she described.
So what do you think? That guy, she can control that guy more. There's something she likes in that guy, or he just short-term fun, or do you think for long-term sustainable relationship?
No, for long-term, it's not something you just sight at once. There's building a relationship. I feel it has two parts to it. The first part is the one that catches your eye immediately. That maybe it could be his height, maybe he has money, could be his eyes, the way he smiles.
But then when you now have to, guys
are now together,
exactly, interact.
That's when
you don't sit down and meditate.
That's when character comes in. That's when you actually check out the character and
live with and who you can't.
Yeah.
So okay, basically, for me, I think there are actually things that improves your chances with a chick. Now, okay, you dress well, your height is good, your beards are neatly shaved or cut, you speak well, you speak fluently, okay, and you have confidence, this kind of
that confidence too. That confidence.
Let me attempt they call it toasting you as a guy, and you're a babe. Okay, let's attempt it. Like, let's say, stand up. Stand up. Let's try. Okay. Let's say you're standing there now, and I just come like this. So sit down. Man. I thought it's difficult to maintain the face and like
this is off, but then
I don't be like babe. You're sweet.
Nah,
Do you think guys have such confidence? What's the first thing you think a normal guy will actually say when he meets?
Even if you're confident, you have to choose your words wisely.
So what word will you use? What word will you use?
You can't see sometimes.
You can't predict the situation.
Situation. This is not something you can say. It goes like this and it always goes without. It's not something you can just create a rule
but
for.
okay,
like
what situation? Okay, the kind of situation that you just meet in an enclosed space. Let's say in the library.
Let's just assume there's a girl here, and it's a library.
Okay.
Obviously, you have to, as a guy, you observe first before you go. You maybe check out what she's reading. If you're your
and
phone,
then you're not coming from that book.
You do a little bit of research on what she's reading, the author and all. Then when you walk up to her, you're like, oh, you read this kind of book too. You know so you mention the author's name. Then she's probably like smiling, or maybe she's frowning at you like fuck off. If she's giving you that fuck off face, you try to like sweeten out, maybe like I just needed help with something, think you could help out, something like that.
Wow. Okay. I don't know.
You can't meet someone at the library and be like, hello, I really like you, I want this, I want that. Obviously she'll show you.
Wow. I don't know. The thing I've actually not had that library experience. Like,
anyway, the thing is, when girls, they always say this now about they want a guy that's confident. When they say this confidence thing, they mean like
can actually approach me and tell me directly
this. You can tell them this. It doesn't have to be like, how would I put it now?
I get where you're going to. You know, we're talking about who wins the meeting race. Assholes, like guys I wouldn't give a fuck about your feelings, or nice guys. You're talking about nice guys. Basically, nice guys, I would define nice guys as people who, guys who, they try to get a chick. They put in the work and everything. And they look so submissive and codependent. Like, these guys are more of the emotional brands. Let me put it that way. Nice guys. But then the assholes, like the confident guys and cool, the guys that don't care about how you feel.
Nice
Why is it that most girls take the other guy, the asshole, over the codependent nice guy, the guy who the guy who is much more emotional?
Let me correct something here. It's not just two types now. It's like there are three.
Okay, Adi, what's the third one?
There are assholes.
Okay.
Those ones are like extreme.
Like they're obnoxious. They don't even care about how you feel.
Then there are the ones that
in the middle, both nice and asshole combined. Is that what you're trying to
kind of like it.
And then the nice,
super nice.
Those guys never get into the pants. Never.
Some of them do.
The chances are.
Some of them do, but
shit, the chances are slim.
I feel girls, they love this. They don't love. They don't like this direct stuff. They love being spontaneous.
What do you mean spontaneous? Mean
spontaneous, like just come at them with something they're not expecting. You should check. It means something like come at them with, in this case, it means like come at them with something they're not really expecting.
Spontaneous here means
happening without planning, without any external cause. So without planning,
proceeding from natural feeling. Okay, without external conscious.
They just want something that's not controlled. Like, I'm not expecting this. Wow, just wow them. Like, don't always be
predictable.
Why? Yeah, don't always be predictable. That's the thing. If you listen to most men, most of these playboy stories, I'm not saying you guys. I'm not saying anything about being a playboy. But then if you listen to their stories, you hear stuff like, okay, I was like, be a guy of mystery. Like,
I shouldn't be able to.
Mystery, yeah. It's not about being an asshole here. If you're an asshole, most girls just don't be ASAP. These days, like, you can't
keep having your way out of
people. These days, they're not like.
You're not getting into this gradually. This thing you've been touching. You're getting into this every day gradually.
They're not like girls of then.
that will
Now
accept bullshit.
you can see a girl that uses guys too, but then you hardly see them. But now you see a girl that can use a guy and don't man forget his name. You see girls that go for one night stands and the next day they don't even remember the guy's name. So you can't always be an asshole. But whereas you're this mystery guy, you're always trying to figure you out, like what's his next step,
What's his
what's
next
he going
move?
to do, all those kind of things. Like it gives them the hots to get. So I just feel you can be a nice guy. If you want to be an asshole, that's your issue. But even if you're a nice guy, try to be spontaneous. You can't always let them, like you can't always be like, let me clean your shoe, let me do this, let me do that, let me always do this same thing. Like it's like they already know. Just like a girl sitting down now, something falls, you're like, oh, he's going to pick it up, and then you pick it up.
Okay.
There's no fun in that.
I get what you're saying. Don't be predictable. Be actually rather spontaneous. Like to keep these babes. I was watching this YouTube video today by let me open it up. Okay. Click YouTube. Okay. Her name by Teal Swan, and she was talking about history. This is my YouTube history. She was talking about why women like assholes plus why women aren't attracted to nice guys. And why women like assholes and why women aren't attracted to nice guys. And basically, why women like assholes and why women aren't attracted to nice guys. And basically, she wrote an article on the subject, and let me just get out the core points in her article. In her article, basically, she just wrote, firstly, um, as you know, there's a general feeling amongst both men and women that nice guys are out of luck and have to turn mean if they want a woman because women like assholes. For those of you who don't know English so well, an asshole is a guy who is unresponsive to the feelings and needs of others. He's intentionally cruel, obnoxious, and heartless. It is the masculine equivalent to a bitch. Women don't actually like assholes. That's a myth. Women prefer men who are nice, but I'm going to explain why it seems like women like assholes. I will just randomly go through this. A woman isn't unattracted to a man because he's nice. What is actually happening is that she's unattracted to him because he lacks the other traits that most women are not only attracted to, but actually need. In order to feel good in a relationship, we could call these masculine traits. And the guys that are usually labeled nice guys by society and that identify with that label tend to lack these traits. Therefore, due to both attraction to due to both attraction to and need for these traits, most women feel forced to be with men who have those traits, even if it comes with a side dish of other undesirable character traits. Nice guys tend to be passive, submissive, inactive, and retreating. They tend to follow instead of lead. They can be codependent and insecure. They are usually always agreeable to the degree that they lack boundaries and a sense of what is actually good or safe. They tend to feel energetically small and therefore unable to protect and contain a woman. To the opposite, men who are masculine tend to take the leadership role. They are protective, they have direction in life, they are creative, they are strong, they provide, they have good social skills, they have drive, they are encouraging, they possess charisma and confidence, they have high energy levels, they take positive ownership of the human in their life, they take action, they provide containment for the feminine. In other words, it has nothing to do with whether a guy is nice. Saying that a woman doesn't want you because you are nice is a way for men to avoid looking at the actual issue. The traits they are currently not exhibiting that women need in order to feel good. And guess what? A man could actually possess those traits and be a nice guy at the same time, and a woman would actually prefer that guy. So, why would a woman choose an asshole with those traits over a nice guy without them? Two, let's just look at biology first. Keep in mind during this explanation that we are in a physical body, and awakening is not about transcending the physical. It is about integrating it. This means what I'm about to share with you is not something that needs to be fixed in women. Physically, for women, attraction is about matching up with a person who will protect you, produce healthy offspring, and provide for you and those offspring. The man is your ticket to survival. No matter how much the modern world has changed things, this is still the truth today for women on a physical level. A vulnerable male leaves a woman in a position to feel like she has to do it all herself or fend for herself. This means a male who lacks masculine traits inevitably makes a woman feel like she is all alone, maybe with a friendly sidekick or servant, but it causes her to feel like all the pressure is on her. Also, for a woman, fear is woven into her biology. It is the baseline experience for her life, whether she is consciously aware of it or not. It is something she lives with like a prey animal, day in and day out. And when women have people that they care about, like a partner and like children, this fear simply grows. If you want to understand more about this, watch my video titled What Every Man Needs to Know About Women. Okay. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how nice a guy is if he can't provide a woman with the feeling that she is contained. She'll feel exposed to the world and therefore like there is nothing between herself and all the various traits in the world. On top of this, most of the masculine traits such as confidence are strongly connected to testosterone. Higher testosterone means a woman will be more physically attracted to you, especially when she is ovulating. At all three, at all of the different levels of reality, masculine and feminine is different. It's a different energy. That energy takes on different expressions and manifestations, and polarities need one another. Masculine energy has a tendency to call feminine energy into its full power and vice versa. It feels good and natural for a woman to be in a state of feminine energy and expression. But when a man lacks masculine qualities, it causes a flip of polarity between men and women. A flip in polarity is to blame for so many relationship issues between men and women today. A flip in polarity tends to disable a woman from being in her feminine energy when she wants to be. When a man is trained to be nice by his parents or modern society, he is not actually being trained to be nice. That's a smoke screen. In fact, he's actually being trained to get rid of his natural power. He's usually being trained to get rid of his masculinity. When a man begins to act passive, submissive, inactive, and retreating, when he makes it a habit to follow instead of lead, becomes codependent or insecure or agreeable to the degree that he lacks boundaries and a sense of what is actually good or safe, he is unable to take positive ownership of a woman. He cannot provide containment. He does not create security. He tends to not be very responsible. Therefore, a woman compensates by becoming masculine. The tissues of her body begin to armor and become like metal instead of to be soft and receptive. She becomes stressed because all the pressure goes onto her. She has to take the leadership role. She has to defend herself. She becomes controlling and feels totally exposed to the world. When this polarity is flipped, it's terrible for both men and women. But women end up in pain, physically, mentally, and emotionally. 4. It's actually a long one. Well, we should finish it. 4. I've been talking a lot about the fact that if a man lacks certain masculine traits, he is unable to contain and positively own a woman. A woman actually wants to feel owned. She just doesn't want to feel controlled. But as far as an asshole is concerned, many women would rather choose to feel owned and controlled over feeling like she has to fend for herself but is free. Let me read that line again. A woman actually wants to feel owned. She just doesn't want to feel controlled. But as far as an asshole is concerned, many women would rather choose to feel owned and controlled over feeling like she has to fend for herself but is free. Not many women like the idea of being stray. To truly own something is to see it as part of yourself. If you see something as part of yourself, it becomes impossible to hurt that thing without hurting yourself. You cannot usurp its free will without harming yourself. Therefore, in true ownership, which is for something to be a part of you, and therefore to belong to you, the best interest of that other thing is of the utmost concern. This makes a human feel safe and secure. Containment is not a limitation. It is a safe space in which something can exist or occur. When it comes to containment, the best way to think of this is like a clamshell and a pearl. A pearl feels safe when it is contained in a clamshell. The masculine serves as that clamshell that enables a human to be soft, open, and receptive. Imagine removing that protective shell. The human would immediately contract, go rigid, and into a state of defense. It is a coping mechanism rather than a natural feel-good state of being. Very few women can live in this state, which is why they would choose an asshole who can provide ownership and containment over a nice guy who can't. The ones who do it tend to turn angry, resentful, chronically stressed, and bitter. And those who choose to be in the flip polarity role in relationships usually have significant trauma around being controlled, especially by a man, which is why they swung the pendulum to the opposite extreme. Other subconscious definition 5 of love comes from our childhood home. This means for some women who had assholes for daddies, they are wired to feel more loved in an environment with an asshole. What's more than that, we all have unresolved trauma, and we keep seeking out situations that mirror that unresolved trauma so as to resolve it. This means that if a girl had an asshole for a daddy, and deep down she always wanted to reform him and feel loved by him and win him over, she will subconsciously find a man who behaves like him, also an asshole, in the subconscious hope that if he is reformed and if she is able to win him over and if he does become loving, she has just healed her daddy wound. This attraction stuff is quite complicated. 6. There is a dynamic in some women, especially those with low self-esteem, where an asshole who is aloof and uncommittal triggers her feeling of not being good enough. This automatically puts her into the position of desperately wanting to be good enough. She then begins to chase the man, trying to get him to want her and to commit to her. There is an element of challenge in winning a guy over, but the challenge isn't the real reason women do it. They do it because they are desperate for the self-esteem and confidence that comes as a result of it being confirmed that they are not only good enough but wanted and special. Suddenly, it feels like if the guy who is acting like you are not good enough doesn't decide he wants you, you really aren't good enough. And if a man who is an asshole will morph into an affectionate good man and a good dad for you alone, it makes a woman feel even better about herself. This dynamic only appeals to women who have low self-esteem, are thrill-seeking, which is extremely rare, or who themselves have commitment issues. If a woman who desperately needs to feel special, especially if that need comes from a childhood wound, you're at high risk for falling into this dynamic. Again, this adult life dynamic is ultimately created by early childhood dynamics. 7. Last but not the least. Some women adapted in their life by becoming codependent. One of the sadder dynamics of codependency is that a person has so much shame that they believe they aren't good enough to be with someone, they aren't good enough to be with someone who is functional and desirable and good. Therefore, they get into relationships with dysfunctional individuals and place themselves in the fixer role. In this position, they can focus on the dysfunction of their partner rather than their own. Also, they can always be in the position of the good guy by comparison and thus avoid their own shame. Some women choose assholes so that they can fix them or love them anyway because it makes them the saints and therefore feel good about themselves by comparison. It also serves as an externalized way of fixing and loving the part of themselves that they feel is unlovable. The last part, it. A lot of women find assholes to be more honest and straightforward. There's a lot of talk in the female world that nice guys only complain about women liking assholes because they are mad that being friendly doesn't get them laid. Meaning, the nice guys might just be every bit as much of an asshole, but a manipulative, covert one. Many women see it as an act, a way of bribing her to give him what he wants. You know what he wants? He wants to get into the pants. And to be totally honest, there are definitely some dangerous sociopathic men who will use this tactic and then pull a bait and switch. And women who have experienced it have spread the warning around. So there you have it. Female behavior is not simply irrational. There are legitimate reasons for it. But the key to a woman's heart and even the way into her panties is not about becoming a jerk. Now, we're talking about nice guys and that's so like I think this is a much more balanced view on the real nice guys and the real asshole. You see what you were talking about a part of trauma at she had daddy issues when she was little and now having a nice guy having an asshole in life is like a way of trying to fix that daddy issue. Like if she's able to reform him, then she has won. But if she's not able to reform him, then she feels like the saint. Like she's the good one in the relationship and he's the bad guy. Or at the same time, they may just like, well, let me try and love him anyway if I can't change him and still live with that childhood pattern. It's more of a pattern. Like you get that angle. So that's it for this nice guy stuff. Now, we had other topics we want to talk about. Do you still want to talk about this feminism? I don't. I don't know why this topic looks tempting. It just looks. Okay. Okay. What? Okay. Now I also had other topics. Um, friendships, letting go, building confidence.
Okay, we could talk about friendships and letting
More of mental. Okay, so basically, what has been your experiences with breaking up with friends? Both guys and like when a new year is starting like this, um, most people are like, I'm gonna cut him off, I'm gonna cut her off.
Nah, that's crap. That's crap. You don't wait till the new year before you cut someone off. So like if someone pisses you off, if someone is like stepping on you like a whole lot, you cut them off immediately. You don't have to wait till the new year before you cut them off.
The new year is new me.
Nah, that's trash though. You can't see like that's the thing. Like I sometimes when I go through like my social media page, I'm like, new year, new me. Like what the actual fuck? Sorry about the word fuck, but
So
then
you're the old you says
like you can't say new year, new me without putting in the work. You can just say new month, new me. Then every month is a new you.
exactly because the year is just beginning of another day.
This is still you. If you don't put in the work, there is no new you. It's still the same old you.
So like, what work are you talking about?
Like what you want to do. If you want to be if you want to be a better person, you need to put in the work. Try to like check yourself. Like okay, where like what are my faults? Work on them. You can't just sit back and okay, it's a new year. Then the new year will just come with all those things and just fix everything for you. You have to put in the work. It's just like those people saying, okay, I can feel the blessings this year has for me. You can't tell me that you'll be lying down on your couch or your bed
And blessings will start coming.
and the new year will just come with blessings and hand it to you. It's not possible. You need to put in work. You don't even have to wait till the new year for your blessings to come. You can put in the work today and in a month's time you see your results. All those things. So this new year, new me, this. I feel it's just how do you guys call it, cruise. Just to be on
Me,
the trend.
I'm of the opinion that like friendships are like there's some friendships meant for certain seasons of our lives. Like you might be getting to another phase of your life where this friend is more of a baggage, or where this friend is more where you can't get in with this friend because this is gonna be like a pull down.
there's something I've learned. Like I've met a lot of people. Am I allowed to mention names?
Mention pseudonyms, fake names.
Okay, there's no point. But then
No,
I've
continue.
met.
Let's call this guy John or Chima.
I don't think there's any point mentioning names because I actually want to like thank them in this video. But then, let's just say I've met. Okay, there's this one in Unizik. He's a web developer. He has taught me a lot, like a lot of things about life, and one of them has to be. So it has to do with life being a journey. You have to figure out a lot of things by yourself, and that's when some people come into your life. They're just meant to help you at
Figure
that
out those
point,
things.
figure that thing out.
And
Maybe
that's
it doesn't have to,
justice.
you don't have to tell them what you're going through. Maybe your relationship with them gets you through that thing. Then you've learned this is how you're supposed to go about it. This is how it was supposed to be. Do you get? It's like that moment that you're living. If you pay,
I get that perfectly.
if you pay close attention to
Patterns.
one thing people don't pay attention to patterns. They just live life. Once you pay attention to patterns,
So there is the same recurring.
this is something you were hoping to overcome, and this is the
when
process. This is the process. But whereas you just think it's just friendship, you just go out fun, it just work like that. Everything in life happens for a reason. That much I know. Because I've paid attention to things and I've seen some certain things. So whereas, okay, this is how it's going, you're like, oh wow, this is how it's meant to be. This is how it's meant to be.
But like, are you saying that this stuff is meant to be going like this, and you envisioned what you envisioned was something to be going like this, and it's going like this?
Most people, sometimes you don't envision anything. You just hope that, like I said, life is a journey. You're on this path. Let's say you're on the path to becoming great. Then you meet someone that's like, let's just say he's
Doesn't yet
into
realize.
something like, let's just say he's into something like investment and stuff like that. Then he's like, your friend is like, come and do this, come and do that. Then you're now learning and stuff like you're learning. You pray that you wanted to be rich one day. So this is part of the process. You're learning this now. You might put it to use in the future. It doesn't have to be immediately. It might be maybe, let's say you start up a company and then you're like looking for ways to like diversify your what's it called again, your ways of income and stuff like that to keep the company afloat. Then you go into those things you learned in the past, you put them into practice now. Do you get? You didn't use them then, you were learning then. You're just following that your friend was putting you through and stuff like that. You were like, this thing, it's not going to do, but you don't know you might need it later. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you.
So then, at some point,
At that journey point,
yeah,
that's where you're still absorbing.
You're still absorbing. Then that friend now, you guys cannot be close when you're even doing nothing. Maybe you guys did fall out.
You've gotten that stuff you're meant to get from that
you're
person.
meant to get. Then
And
maybe
now
that
you're on to
person
the
now,
next
it's time for him to move on with his life. It could just be okay. He gets something to do abroad or something like that. Obviously, he's now based there and you're based there. The communication can't be constant, so everything drops. You've gotten what you wanted from that person. Not necessarily that was your plan, but then you've learned that thing. It's just life.
I get this perfectly. I get this perfectly. Now, on the issue of letting go of friends that like have been so close to you and like, well, this thing happens more. Well, I don't want to say it happens more with male and female. Like it just happens with guys. Like sometimes like nowadays in normal stuff, like as a guy, when you're getting well there or you see yourself going further, there's a high tendency for you dropping those your friends that like that just asking for urgent 2K like
no, we humans, there's this thing we do, whereas
feel progressive
someone is not like
on our level.
I'm kind of like that. Not level now. It's like I'm headed towards this place, and then this guy is like he's holding my leg, he's like pulling me back, always wanting me to like join them in this particular thing that I know I've outgrown. Obviously, I will drop you and just keep going.
Give some examples of that stuff you've outgrown. They wanted to join back.
Okay, let's just say what would I use now? Okay, let's just say I can't say personally because I can't just think of it like on the spot now, but let's just assume someone that like from Monday to Friday you're always partying. I'm not. You can party quite alright, but then whereas
And sometimes you have to actually do the work,
yeah, you have
sit
to
down
do
and
the
study,
work. You have
sit
to
your ass
actually
down.
not even study. Like you have to actually sit down and okay. Let's leave partying out of it now. Let's say like you always want to turn up. Let's just say turn up. Not turn up doesn't necessarily mean a party. You just always want to turn up. Always want to have fun.
Become and just have a drink or something.
Yeah, I don't
Or play
like.
video game.
There are some things you do like you've done it a lot. Like
And now
you're
it's time for
tired.
the
Like
next stuff.
you just need to like
Get sober.
sit down. Yeah, sit down and actually think where am I headed? What's my next move? Plan your next move. But whereas you're always like on the move, on the go, like always grooving, always turning up. You don't have time to sit down and think about your next move. Then you make a mistake and you sleep. Do you get?
I get what you're saying. Now, there's a quote by I read a lot of Stoic books and like all these philosophies, and in this aspect of moving forward in life, there's a quote by it's a very popular quote. Man, know thyself. Let me actually check. Is it Socrates or so? Let me check who's the author who actually has that quote. Man, know thyself. Okay. Man, know thyself quote. The ancient Greek aphorism is one of the Delphic maxims and was the first of three maxims inscribed in the pronouns of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. According to the Greek writer Pausanias, the two maxims that flow know thyself were nothing to excess and certainty brings insanity. Okay, basically, do you think like most youths these days are just floating, like they're absorbing whatever bullshit they see on social media and they're just living their life according to noise?
Yes.
And like no one has actually done the deep work, the deep searching, and actually like try to live their life like
They're supposed to.
that they're supposed to. Everyone is just absorbing.
Just going with the flow.
Exactly. So like, what do you think on this stuff? How do you think we can get back in tune with ourselves and actually live purposeful
That's
lives
literally what I was saying. Like sometimes you need to take a break.
you
You need to take a break from everything. Switch off your phone. Like stay away from everyone, even if it's like for 2 days. Use that time to think.
reflect?
Use it to reflect. Like where are you headed? What do you want to do? What do you really want to do? Not what you've absorbed. Like what do you really want to do? That's
What
okay.
would
There's this
express your
trend now.
creativity the most?
I didn't want to mention this thing, but there's this trend of fraud and everything. Most people now they do that stuff probably out of what everybody's doing it. Let me just do it. And most of these people, I feel they are meant for something like bigger, something maybe they have this higher power calling or something. But then whereas they've settled for less, they can't see that again. It's like they've shut off that site. Most people they get it through that fraud quite alright. Maybe it's something that they maybe temporarily they know where they're headed. But most people that do it, they don't know where they're even headed. They're just like, let's just keep doing this. But most people that do it, they know where they're headed. If they get this, they want to use it for this. They want to use it to get this.
Does it really work that way when you get money from paying, causing someone else paying, and you actually use that money for something tangible? Does it really work like that?
To be honest, it's I feel it has worked for some people.
Give me an
It doesn't
example.
work for every. I don't know. I can't say examples. I can't say I know anybody. But then I feel there are most people it works for.
Like people that are focused, that I'll scam for a certain number of years, I'll be a criminal. Certain number of years, I keep causing people paying for like 5-10 years. I'll save 10 million naira or $1 million or whatever. And once I get this money, I start a company.
Let me tell you something now.
Have you ever heard about anybody that like
Let me tell you something. Most of all these big men,
some of them
sorry to say, most of all these people now, they probably had something dirty they did to someone
at a point.
But then it doesn't mean that you won't pay. You might pay, but then the level of your what's the word? Let's just say payment. The level of your payments might not be the same as someone else's.
Level of your karma.
Yeah, level of your karma might not be same as someone else's. So that's why you don't have to do what someone else is doing. Some people they have grace.
To actually commit sin and escape, and no one catches them.
Okay,
What
you
about
can't. Okay,
how about
calm down.
how about it in your
Look at
soul?
Hush. Look at Hush Puppy now.
Forget that. How about in your soul?
Your soul.
It doesn't.
That's
it
the thing.
doesn't keep you up at
That's
night.
why I said people have different karmas. You know, it could be most of all these people that you see online now that are like big and all. Most they could be into scamming and all, but you can't be so sure. I'm not saying they are.
There's no proof. There's
I'm
no
not saying
solid
there's,
evidence.
but then there's this. They could be going through their own karma internally.
Within internal hunt.
Yeah, but you can't see it. You only see what's up, like what's going on, like out on the outside. You don't know what's going on in the
The
inside.
highlight reel.
Why there are some that theirs is like on the outside, maybe their business will go crashing, stuff like that. So I feel everybody's karma is different. You can't say, okay, because I scam this person, you should be seeing karma with this person. Do you get?
I get you. Okay, now on the show of books, do you think it's important to read books? Do you think it's necessary looking for books to read, or we should actually just understand ourselves? What do you think?
Reading books, I won't say it's necessary. I feel you can do soul searching, figure out yourself by yourself.
Without external.
The books are just there. Okay,
guide.
they are just there to guide you, or maybe to like.
Show you this and
You just need this time to just check something. Most of these things you can see it all around you. If you pay close attention, you can actually study. You can actually figure out how to school. Yeah, you know how to go about this, how to go about that, just by looking around you. But whereas you know the type that you don't even observe anything around you, you just keep going with the flow. And maybe when you wake up, you find out that it's too late.
Okay. As a young person, as a 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 20-year-old, you think it's important to have a relationship, an intimate relationship with the opposite sex? To have a girlfriend, a boyfriend? You think it's necessary? Do you think it's...
Is it necessary? Nah, it's not necessary. It's a matter of choice if you want to. If you feel you can handle it, fine. If you can't handle it, then leave it.
Then how about the sexual urge? How would you express that? How would you... Because most of us, we date for sex.
Yeah, most people date for sex.
Okay. So now when you don't have a female or an opposite sex partner, or if you're gay, because you don't have a partner, basically, a sexual partner, how would you know?
I don't know, it varies then. Some people have mass self-control. Like there are people that have self-control.
Like people that are going to become bishops and priests.
Not about bishop and priest. There are stories going around about that one. I don't want to go into that one. But some people have self-control. Some other people, they have various means. They have how they figure out themselves. So that's it. Dating for sex. It has caused a lot of issues, though. If you're dating, because
what kind of issues does that cause? Isn't that why we are all dating? Like,
no, everyone is dating for sex.
Let's be frank. People under 25 years old, what are we all dating for?
Most people date to learn stuff, to know how, just to get an insight
into your world.
Most people date
into the other party's world.
Kind of like it, but then they date maybe to know, okay, what is it going to be like getting married. Then some dates with the hopes of getting married one day. They want to get to know the person. Then some dates so they don't feel lonely. They want someone they can always talk to. That okay, yeah, this person is always around. Because then your friends are not always around. But when it's your boyfriend, you know you can call him up anytime. Hey, what's up? Let's hang out.
Man, this is a broad angle. Wait,
but whereas you're dating for sex, that's childish to me.
Why do people try to fight loneliness with dating and we give up ourselves to the other person? Do you get with this angle I'm going? Like without this person, my life is empty. There's a vacuum within.
That's actually very wrong.
When they break up with you, your world crumbles.
That's very wrong. Because whereas you tie yourself to a person like that, you're not even married to the person, just dating, and you tie yourself to that person like that, it's not healthy. Because whereas the relationship gets toxic or something, you find it hard to leave. Because you feel if you leave, your world is going to crumble or something.
But in the end, will your world crumble?
Nah, it won't crumble. You see, that's the thing. People should learn to
move on.
Give things. It's not about moving on. You should learn to believe in time. Time heals wounds. I know when.
Continue. You know when.
No, talk about it.
You know when.
Yeah, I know when. I got my first heartbreak. Like
How old were
I
you?
felt. I don't know. I think I started dating. Was it 2017? That has actually been my only relationship.
How old were you?
How old was
21, 20, 19,
2017? I think I was it 18 or 19?
18.
18 or 19.
So you're say a fresh boy.
19. So, I. Was it 2017?
What led to the
2018?
breakup?
It was kind of mutual. It wasn't mutual.
Like, why did you guys what was the main reason for breaking up?
The vibe wasn't just there anymore.
The attraction came down,
It
or
wasn't just
you
there.
guys want to waste each other's time?
It wasn't just there anymore. But then,
Okay, when you got in a relationship,
at that point,
when you guys got into a relationship, like, what was in your brains? What were you guys thinking?
I won't lie. I wanted to just see what it was like dating someone. Because I had never been in a relationship, and that's been my only relationship. I just wanted to see what it was like being in a relationship. This relationship was like
partially happily ever after.
it was fun while it lasted, but then when we broke up, at that point now, the heat and everything, you won't think about it. But along the line where you start, like, the memories start like kicking in.
But it does happen so that first 2 weeks.
Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it takes longer, but then
after 1 month,
you just have to give it time.
It's gone.
It's not about it's gone. There's no like where you guys
flashback.
There's no flashback. There's this thing when you have this kind of connection with someone, like this very mad connection, like it's just the person you feel okay. This person can complete your sentences and stuff like that. That kind of connection.
I've not had that kind of connection in my life.
I said that.
I hope one day I meet someone like that.
Everywhere, people know you. Like people know you guys. You don't see them like something like that. That kind of connection. So it's not something you can just discard easily.
Mr. and Mrs.
No, it's not something that you just discard easily, yeah.
Relationship wise, personally, have I had any serious relationship? See, first of all, I think this relationship thing is biological. See, our internal body craves someone. Like, we just crave a second part. And then when you're not the opposite sex, that's more of an outlet. Sexual outlet, emotional outlet, it's just an outlet for so many things when it's the opposite sex. Okay. I was telling a girl, I just like this chick. We met in a cab, and I was telling her about the kind of things I like. I actually like Erika Loss's porn. I like basically things that are not politically correct. She like basically all this weird stuff. And she was like, word is nice. And how come this girl was just keen, like, and then I told her I'm interested in her. She told me that we can just be friends. And me, like, basically, from previous experiences, I'm currently knowing like what I want. I see this chick, I like this chick, I like how she thinks. Okay, let's enjoy. Let's just start a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend stuff, and enjoy the experience. Basically, that's what I believe in. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the experience. Because obviously, it's not gonna last so long. If we should be frank, if we should be frank with ourselves,
there's no need like branding it a relationship. Just
call it momentarily fun.
It's a relationship, but then not like the boyfriend and girlfriend type. Just call it what it is. That's what I
is it?
Just call it what it is. You guys just want to be fuck buddies, friends with benefits. Just call it what it is at the moment. Like, you don't have to state it. Maybe you have to get close to the person a bit to know if he or she is comfortable doing that. But then if they are not, just back off. There's no need using love to like sway them into just having sex with you, because then everything gets messy.
What gender do you think does that more? What gender do you think use the word love to keep you and keep banging?
Guys, obviously.
So basically, you think most guys that profess love for girls is fake. It's fake. They want to fuck.
One thing that helped me along the line was I saw this one happen. This guy was always telling this girl about love.
Reading poems too.
Like
writing love notes.
She should have just stated what he wanted and
wanted to bang her.
Then he left her. This girl, like, she had a psychotic break, bro.
What do you mean by psychotic break?
Like, she was literally hunting this boy down. Like,
I don't understand.
That was very scary. Like, you see a girl that's like attached to a guy and She's like, if you leave me, I'll do this to you, I'll do that
So
to
what
you.
did she do to him?
Don't take those stress lightly, bro.
What
Like,
did she do to
she's
him?
literally always calling him anywhere she sees him, she'll harass him. Like stuff like that. Bro. I was like, oh no, I can't lie to someone. Like you don't have to lie to get sex. Because
At the point, the vibe wasn't there again, and he just had to cut it off.
it's not about when you cut it off, bro.
They will still haunt you.
They will hunt you down. You can't tell if this girl is going to turn out like that. So you just have to be careful
And be truthful from
and be
from the
truthful.
onset.
So that you know, okay, yes, I told you when we started. Then at least that one could help her. But whereas you're using love, bro. Anyway, they see, one day she might just whip out a knife and you'll be like, what the hell is going on here? Before you know it, the knife is in your chest.
Like, you basically stabbed me because I lied to you or something so natural.
It happens now. Don't you see in movies? It happens. It's not like this is not fiction. This one, it happens. You can't say it's fiction. Guys should do it.
What movie would you say such a thing happened?
I can't say acrimony. Acrimony is totally different.
Acrimony, the guy was middle class. He couldn't really afford,
No. This one is way different from acrimony now. What movie now can I use? Okay, have you seen Obsessed?
No.
I saw this movie. Wait, chill, let's go movies. I don't know their names.
Like, I should Google, what should I type? Keyword.
You just type Obsessed. Just type movie. I think you should show movies that are related.
Movies
Related to Obsessed.
related
Just type to Obsessed.
to obsessed. And this would make a nice podcast title. Let's see how it goes. Movies related to obsessed. We
I
have
don't know if you've seen this one that
internet is so slow.
I think she killed her husband.
We have
Or
the
she
perfect guy. We have unforgettable.
Okay, the perfect guy, yes. You've seen this one, right?
I might not remember probably.
Okay, yeah, when the bull breaks. This one, I think this was the one where her sister was into her man. And her sister kept coming for fatal affair.
And sister kept coming for what?
Wait, I'm trying to, which one is that? I've seen this one. I'm trying to remember what happened here. This one, her sister kept coming for her guy.
Wait, all this is
Okay, no,
because
not this
all,
one,
all
not this
this.
one.
Wait, chill. Back from all these movies, all this is because the guy lied in the beginning. He just wanted sex time.
No, this that one was different. I think he had a thing with her. Like he cheated on his wife with his sister.
He cheated on his wife with her sister.
Yeah, with her sister.
With her sister-in-law.
Yeah, with his sister-in-law. And she left. Then after a year, she came back.
Huh? What kind of?
After a year, I think her husband died. She had this sickness. I think it started from her childhood or something. Always expecting a guy to always love her this certain way after they've had a thing. So her husband wasn't doing it anymore. She killed her husband, but no one knew she killed him. Then she used that I'm grieving to like get her sister to pity her and make her stay with them. Then she came to stay with them.
Okay, wait. The sister was also married too,
Yeah, the sister was married.
and she killed her husband.
Yeah.
And but then the main sister's husband was still alive. The one that cheated.
Yeah, the one that cheated was
Okay.
still alive. But then they had put everything behind
What's the
them.
name of the movie?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Then she came into
After how many years?
After like
After many years of
I
cheating?
can't remember though.
But it took some
Did he
time.
cheat? No, I don't think he cheated. I think he met that one first before he met the one he was married to. So that was the whole thing. So they had put the relationship they had back like in the past. Then when she came, she was trying to like get him back. That was just her main goal, just to get him. Then she was manipulating, and then it happened. He cheated on that. Okay, that was when he first cheated on his
What's the
wife.
central theme of this movie? Like, what are we trying to get from it?
This same thing I told you now.
Not coming.
Like, no, okay, this one's different, Charles. This one's kind of different because he didn't use the word love. But then I'm just saying that what I'm trying to say here is if you're professing love to anyone, just know that there are some people out there that have this kind of issues.
And clingy,
Yeah,
extra clingy.
they come back to haunt you. Most of them is not that they are clingy. It's probably a mental issue.
So we should make sure we whenever we're professing love, we should be genuine.
Just be genuine. That's all.
If you want sex,
So
we
at
tell them.
least
We tell
on your
them.
own path, you know that
Be
you're
clean.
clear. Yeah.
See, if you want sex, tell them basically this is what we are dating for.
Maybe at least you get close to the person first. Then
No,
you
but
state your
it's
fact.
see, it's very, very okay to actually date for sex. That I don't believe in all this rubbish nonsense. Useless biological
Dating for
love.
sex, then there's no
Like
need saying this.
no, like this is why we are at this point in my life. I'm just dating you to bang you and to have pleasure with you and to experience all this with you. You're learning from the experience. I learn from the experience. It's mutual. Okay.
Because then once you state it like that, okay, both of you, even if that feeling is start coming in,
You know, you can go back to the drawing board and say this was the original
but
agreement.
whereas you're using love, even yourself that you're saying the love, hoping that it's to get sex, you might end up falling for the person, and hoping maybe herself, she even knew what you were doing.
Well, I get
And
that.
you now start falling for her, and she just drops you along the line.
How?
Like maybe she didn't. Maybe she knew what you were doing along the line and she was playing along with the I love you. Obviously, one of you fall for each other. Once she was still hearing I love you.
And once the emotions start getting in play, there's one of
Then once you start seeing them with someone else,
you don't start feeling angry and sad.
all this kind of shit now.
This relationship stuff is so broad and complex. So how do you think we should end? How do you think we should end this video? Like, what should be the, like a conclusion? I've basically talked masculinity. I talked about guys that get scamming people. We talked about older guys that are being abusive to younger
I think
people.
we should just conclude with this relationship thing. Put a word out there.
Like basically, like for me, be authentic in your dealings in life, relationship, everything. Yes, there are some cases that you have to be. I don't want to use have to be because I don't know. We evolved to tell lies to protect ourselves and even to protect the other party. There's some times that you have to be gullible. Like I don't know, but survival of the fittest and how humans evolved, and we evolved basically at the end of everything through cooperation. I was reading, diverting a little bit, but still related. I was reading Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan some days ago. Basically, this guy says that cooperation is selfish. The strongest human being can be defeated by the littlest person because in mental capacities, humans are equal. You can, gang up with other people, or you can prepare a chemical to destroy this guy, or you can just machinate something in your brain to use and take down this big guy as a threat. So at the end of the day, we realize that I cannot take you down always, and I'm always at the risk of being taken down by my next neighbor enemy. So at the end of the day, we have to come together and create a social contract where we will live in peace under these conditions. And that's how we started forming society. Do you understand? The concept? Like, this guy basically says society was formed, Thomas Hobbes, Leviathan. Society was formed via social contracts where everyone knows that everyone is a threat, and now we had no option but to cooperate. Do you get the logic? You're a threat to me. This guy is a threat to this guy is a threat to me. This guy is a threat to this guy. So we had no option than to come together and cooperate. So that's the saying. Whatever you're doing, I don't know, just be genuine. Okay.